A flurry of wild finishes, including a big one in Minnesota.
Plus, there were how many hat tricks scored tonight? Huh?
Hey,
get out of here.
Tricks are for kids. 2 goals in 8 seconds are for the Ducks.
All that and more on this Wednesday night recap edition of Locked On NHL Game Night.
When that final horn sounds, you know it's time for Locked On NHL Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before, only on Locked On NHL Game Night. Your team every day.
Well, that horn has sounded, and hello there, hockey fans. Welcome to another episode of Locked On NHL Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I'm Cam Stuart, a sad Boston Bruins fan on the third coast.
And I'm Tyler Feldman, a lifelong and also sad Pittsburgh Penguins fan, currently loving life in Austin, Texas. And Cam, here we go, yet another exhilarating night across the National Hockey League.
Oh, you can say that again. 5 games on the slate tonight, and Tyler, they all delivered in their own unique way in this one. We have so much to dive into tonight, starting with the Leafs. Leafs at the Lightning. Canada's team? Well, not exactly. We can't go that far. But the 2 top teams in the Atlantic, the Lightning, have closed the gap significantly. It's now anyone's race at the top of the Atlantic Division. That is a big one to win to avoid facing the defending Stanley Cup champs in the first round. And this had the feel of a playoff game. It was wild, back and forth. The Leafs get it done in overtime. Let's hear from our local expert, Locked On Leafs host, David Morisutti.
Give Matthew Knies the deed because he continues to own the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm David Morisutti from the Locked On Leafs podcast, and it was another nice performance from the Leafs forward who recorded a hat trick in a 4-3 overtime victory for the Toronto Maple Leafs in what was an action-packed game which featured everything, including a hot start from the Buds, some questionable officiating, and a nail-biting finish. Mike DeStefano and I will break it all down on the next edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This was a weird start to this one. Leafs kind of jump out and just blitz Tampa. 2 goals in the first 3.5 minutes, and it looks like it's going to be a Toronto runaway. And then the game starts to take shape, Tyler. Tampa comes back in this one, and this had the feel of a real playoff game this night.
Yeah, 4-3 overtime win. And I'll tell you what, it had that playoff caliber intensity start to finish. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a slower start, but the goaltending, Vasilevsky had come in red hot, 7-2 in his last 9 games, came in with a 1.33 goals against average in those last 9. And Knies was unbelievable. He just seemingly dominates Tampa Bay, gets the hat trick, has now 9 goals in his last 9 games against the Bolts, and that played to be a big factor in this hockey game. And it really just got me really excited for the playoffs less than 10 days away, because these 2 teams, you want to see them in the postseason the way they're playing right now. Toronto now has 100 points. Tampa Bay has 97 points. So the Bolts could have used the win a little bit more than the Leafs, and now it's still the Lightning kind of chasing the Leafs in that division to see who gets up on top.
And the Leafs were a team that looked lackluster last night against Florida. They completely turned that around in a high-intensity game. You said it. They've hit 100 points. They've hit the century mark. They're one step closer to the division title, which they've only won twice since the NHL expanded to 12 teams 55 plus years ago. It is totally crazy, but they are one step closer to that. And I'm not saying it yet, but some are saying Leafs here. It was a great game for Mitch Marner, 3 points. Austin Matthews sets it up. So Knies gets the hat trick, but your stars came out to play in this one. A team that did not come out to play. And this is going to feel like deja vu all over again, Tyler, because we were saying this on our first episode the other night. The team that did not come out to play was the New York Rangers. It was not Broadway. There was no playing going on.
You act surprised. You're acting surprised right now.
I guess I'm new to this.
You're not, though. You're not. You know the sport. You know the teams.
I think with how they kind of turn it around at one point in the season. I say turn it around. They have not won back-to-back games since November. The Rangers have not, but you look at the roster still, even after some of the moves they made this year, and I'm like, maybe they'll put a charge in here. They didn't. They did not. They didn't do it for Sam Rosen. This was an ugly game. It goes back and forth, but the Philly Flyers, with nothing to play for, take it in the end in the first wild score of the night at 8-5. Rachel Donner, our Locked On Flyers expert, breaks it down.
Hi, this is Rachel Donner from the Locked On Flyers podcast. And if I had a nickel for every Metro team that used to be coached by John Tortorella and Peter Laviolette, I'd have a nickel now and another one real soon, because the Rangers are for sure going to fire the latter after that performance. This game had questionable goaltending on both sides for sure, as Alexei Kolosov had his first game in net for the Flyers since March 22nd when he played for the AHL Phantoms, and Jonathan Quick had probably his worst game all season long. The Flyers have been playing fast and loose since John Tortorella was fired, and it's paid off in offensive production, at least, with interim head coach Brad Shaw earning a 4-1 record thus far, and the Flyers having scored 6 or more goals in 3 of those 5 games. The mantra now is have fun and go out on a good note. And I guess I'll take it with that 8-5 victory. For more on this game and the Flyers all season long, follow the Locked On Flyers podcast.
Like I said, it was back and forth for a ton of this, but the bad omen starts pretty early in this one, Tyler. The Rangers get a penalty shot a minute 15 into the game. Mika Zibanejad, like down season, probably not much left in the tank, but here's your moment. He can't even put the puck on the net. Like, that's what the Rangers are doing right now.
On my table here, I've got some Downy softener. I have it here. I wasn't going to use this as a prop.
It's topical.
But I'm out of softener. And you know who has a ton of softener? The Rangers.
Especially Mika.
Larry David, a known Rangers fan, lifelong Rangers fan. You know, he likes to say pretty good. Well, the Rangers are playing some pretty bad hockey right now. They came in having been outscored 9-1 in back-to-back losses. This game was tied at 1. It was tied at 2. It was tied at 3. It was tied at 4. You had the 2 Pittsburgh kids, Vincent Trocheck with a shorthanded goal. Really nice deke. You had JT Miller giving the Rangers a 4-3 lead in the third period. And yet the Flyers, who all they have to play for is strengthening their lottery chances. And they already have first-round picks from the Avs and the Oilers. And this is a Rangers team fighting for a playoff spot. And you're going to lose 8-5. And Jonathan Quick, was it his worst game? No. He actually made some pretty spectacular saves in this game, but he also gave up some terrible goals. But it's not Quick's fault entirely. This Rangers team as a whole has just been playing so terribly down the stretch when they need to be playing in the other direction.
Yeah, that final go-ahead goal for the Flyers, that would have made it, 5-4, I want to say. Mika Zibanejad is just checking air behind the net. Quick lets up this huge rebound and
juicy.
Score. I mean, juicy as holy heck. And the Flyers don't look back from there.
And we have to mention Tyson Forster, hat trick. I mean, some of those shots, first career, and some of those shots were just blistering, like get out the way. So credit to Forster. It was a hat trick kind of night in the league.
Absolutely. That was the first of many, which we're about to get to. Philly, by the way, 24 goals in their 5 games since Torts was fired. And now the Rangers, Sam Rosen even said this, the tragic number is 1. 1 more point for the Montreal Canadiens, and the Rangers are officially eliminated. I don't know about you, but I think that's coming.
And Cam, real quickly, shout out to Sam Rosen, the way in which they honored him tonight. I mean, that's a tremendous career as a sports broadcasting nerd. You can see the books behind me. Certainly a local guy in a big city. Sam Rosen, a legend, sensational 40-year career coming to a close, but a special night celebrating him as well.
It's going to sound different on Broadway, that's for sure. The Rangers were not the only team to collapse tonight. They were not the only team to have a hat trick against them. The Flames might well have just about bowed out in one of the craziest ways possible. That's coming up in a flash here on Locked On NHL Game Night. You thought the Rangers collapse was bad. I mean, Calgary said that and said, hold my beer. This one was nuts. Out in Anaheim, we saw them go to the Shark Tank the other night. They fall behind, but they come back and they get an insurance goal at the end and they win that game ho hum. It looks like it's going to be the same thing in this one. It's 1-1 in the third period. They score 2 in a row with under 10 minutes to go. And then all hell breaks loose in this one, and the Ducks win it in overtime. Kyle Carr, our Ducks expert, tries to make sense of it all.
What a comeback win. The Anaheim Ducks down 1-0. They tie it. Calgary immediately takes the lead again, makes the lead a 3-1 game. Ducks come with 2 goals in 9 seconds. Cutter Gauthier getting the 3rd goal. It goes to overtime, and then Leo Carlsson turns on the Jets, goes down, cuts back, feeds Gauthier, and Gauthier gets his 2nd of the night. That's 2 games in a row that Cutter has gotten 2 goals in the same game. The Ducks are buzzing right now. Yes, they're out of the playoffs, but they are having fun at the end of this season. What a comeback win. The Flames do not sweep the Ducks this season. The Ducks finally get a win against them, and it was a beauty of a game. They were down in shots the entire game, kind of flat in the first and second, but the third, they started getting all of the pressure, all the momentum. You could feel the buzz around the players as they were forechecking, playing a physical game, and they come away with the win. This could be the nail in the coffin for the Flames, and I am definitely not one to be upset about that. Way to go, Ducks. What a game. You've got to watch it if you did not see it. Just an absolute thriller.
You had to see it to believe it. And did you hear that, ladies? 8 seconds is more than enough. 2 goals for the Ducks to tie it up.
It was 2 goals in 5 seconds, I thought. No?
I thought they said 5 on the broadcast. I hear 9 from Kyle. I see 8 from the NHL app, which has been wrong on those times before. Either way, it was literally that quick. They score, and then off the face-off, they set up Gauthier, and like that, the game is tied, and the Flames are completely shell-shocked. How does this happen, Tyler?
I don't know. The Leafs Lightning game was the best hockey game tonight. This Flames Ducks game, arguably the most exciting, because we were both watching this and texting one another. It was a 3-1 lead for the Flames with less than 5 minutes to go. And the way in which Dustin Wolf was playing in net, I mean, he's been red hot. He's 12-1, 1.84 goals against average, 93% save percentage in games against California teams so far in his career. So I was like, this guy, the Cali kid, he's got in the bag. We've seen him do it already this week. And the Ducks, out of nowhere, just string together some really strong hockey. The Flames pretty much at this point needed a win. They don't get it. And Gauthier, give him credit. He's now got back-to-back games with 2 goals. He came into this week with just 2 multi-goal games the entire season. So the rookie getting it done when the team needed him most. And really exciting stuff for this Ducks team, this young Ducks team that, again, doesn't really have a ton to play for. They're not going to the postseason. And the Flames, Calgary, you've got to be really upset. If you're a Flames fan, this is brutal.
Yeah. And speaking, going back to what Kyle was saying in there, it was almost like what they said about the Soviets after the Miracle on Ice, where they were just so happy to see the team enjoying it. They had forgot what winning was like. That's what I was like with Kyle. I'm like, the man, they have nothing to play for, but he's just loving this. This is what it's about, man.
It's nice that we've seen Kyle so excited twice this week now. And I don't know if you were watching the broadcast and saw the cut to the Calgary Flames bench after that game winner. Just utter.
They couldn't hide it.
The Souls had entirely left that bench because they knew how badly they needed this win. Wolf was playing great hockey. He hadn't faced a ton of shots in this game, but they gave up. It's just you can't let a Ducks team like that score 2 goals to tie it and then have a rookie like you beat you like that. So, I mean, credit to Ducks, but the Flames needed that one, and you can pretty much write them out of the playoffs picture at this point.
And they were ready for like the most pressure-packed game of the NHL regular season potentially on Friday, because they're playing the Minnesota Wild, and Wild is exactly what that game was too. We promised you hat tricks. We've got hat tricks. Okay, 8. How about 8-7 in overtime with 2 hat tricks in this one? Macklin Celebrini for the Sharks, 4 for Joel Eriksson-Ek, Seth Topal of Locked On Wild. Please take us through this.
Somehow, Kirill Kaprizov returning, scoring twice, including the overtime winner, was not the biggest story in the Minnesota Wild's 8-7 overtime win against San Jose. Hey, everybody, Seth Topal, host of Locked On Wild, your daily Minnesota Wild podcast, recapping a bonkers 8-7 overtime win for the Minnesota Wild against the San Jose Sharks, a game in which Kirill Kaprizov returned 2 goals, including the overtime winner. Matt Boldy had a 4-point night, but Joel Eriksson-Ek, 4 goals in his return to the lineup. He had a couple of power play goals. He scored early and often as the 2 biggest returners for the Minnesota Wild combined for 6 goals, 7 points, 17 shots on goal, and they needed every single bit of it. Not only that, the Minnesota Wild eliminated Vancouver and Utah from playoff contention with the win. Big one coming up on Friday. Make sure to check out Locked On Wild for more wherever you listen to your podcasts.
I mean, the thing with the Wild that's so crazy here is like they were clearly just like kind of limping almost to the finish line. They're like, we're going to make the playoffs. We just need Kirill Kaprizov back. He hasn't played since January 26th. Joel Eriksson-Ek gets hurt in practice in February. Once we get these guys back, we'll be fine. And the rest of the league's like, yeah, okay. They might be fine now that these guys are back.
Look, you can't be giving up 7 goals in the playoffs and expect to win.
There's going to be no Sharks in the playoffs, by the way.
Everything about this game that has already been discussed, there were so many great storylines. The guys back from injury had big games. The big storyline that hasn't been discussed is the guy who gave up 7 goals, Marc-Andre Fleury. Most likely his final home game with the Minnesota Wild. Pre-game, his kids came on the ice. It was a pretty emotional moment. They were in skates, warming up with him, standing with him. The video is on social media if you haven't seen it. But then he goes ahead, gives up 7 goals, but then by winning in overtime, he passes Martin Brodeur as the winningest goalie in NHL history with overtime wins. Fleury now has 70 overtime wins in his career. Brodeur had 69. Just crazy given the fact that he didn't have a great game, 24 saves. But in doing so, his career is kind of culminating in a pretty special finish. It'll be cool to see. The former Penguin had a cool few years with the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and then now with the Wild. He's had a pretty spectacular career, given all the doubt that he experienced in Pittsburgh. But you go through this entire game, the Wild still holding on tight to that second wild card spot. Eriksson-Ek and Kaprizov coming back, humongous. I think those 2 guys are, you saw tonight, total game changers. And we still haven't really talked about Celebrini with his first hat trick of his career. So just a lot to talk about, good things to talk about from this game tonight, despite 15 total goals.
Yeah, and so if you're keeping score at home from what we've gone through so far, that's 4 hat tricks in the NHL tonight. 2 of them, guys with their first career hat tricks. Pretty crazy stuff. And we said it at the beginning, all of these games delivered. And we've got one more that also delivered. The Oilers and the Blues. Blues all of a sudden can't stop losing. I mean,
they won 12
wins in a row,
12 straight.
2 straight losses. I don't know, Tyler. 2 straight losses in regulation.
Hold on. I don't know if 2 straight losses equates to. I don't know if 2 straight losses.
They forgot how to win.
To can't stop losing. But I hear what you're saying.
And speaking of guys coming back, Joel Eriksson-Ek and Kirill Kaprizov coming back in Minnesota, that's a big story. But when the best hockey player on the planet is coming back into the lineup, that's a bigger one. Connor McDavid on the ice for the Oilers. First time since March 20th he's out there. He delivers 3 points in this game. The best part about it maybe was the full-on Donnybrook in the first period. And wouldn't you know, who's in the middle of this? But Jordan Binnington just going after Corey Perry, 2 guys who have been in a couple of mix-ups. Mm-hmm. And what I thought was cool was Jim Montgomery's reaction to that in the second period. Did you see that?
You sent me the video.
Yeah.
Did I see that? Come on. I clicked on the link.
So Leah Hextall's interviewing him, and she says, what happened in that first period? And Jim Montgomery in the in-game interview is like, I have a lot of respect for Corey Perry. That was not a hockey play. No, it was just, I'm like, all right, we got someone defending Jordan Binnington here.
Hey, this time of year, it's all business. It's all business. Like, stop some pucks and get on with your business. But hey, McDavid, 3 assists, first game back since March 20th. That guy's huge. I mean, the Oilers are limping into the playoffs slightly. His return, no surprise, will be dynamic for that Edmonton team as they try to make another deep run. That assist with 19 seconds left, a back and forth game. His line mate there, Brown, with 2 goals, 2 big ones, including the game winner. This Oilers team, watch out. I think with the healthy McDavid, and he's committed. He wants a cup. I think just as badly as any guy in the league that hasn't won one, but especially Connor McDavid.
And if they can get past that not having home ice advantage against LA, who's unbelievable at home, they could be right back in the final. I mean, and Connor McDavid almost blew this, by the way. They had a power play with about 2.5 minutes left in regulation, and it was only a 3-second power play because McDavid held off the faceoff, and then he gets his 3rd assist of the night, and the Oilers win it. Connor McDavid doing Connor McDavid things. We have got our stars of the night, and we are remembering an NHL legend. That is coming up next on Locked On NHL Game Night.
Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Yeah, Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. How about that? Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Absolutely love pistachios. Big pistachio guy right here. And if you're not, you should be, and you should check out Wonderful Pistachios. We welcome you back to this episode of Locked On NHL Game Night. There's my man, Cam Stuart. And Cam, it's been a tough week in the NHL. Some sudden passings of some really great legendary figures in the sport. Ray Shero suddenly passing away, 62 years old. Architect of the Pittsburgh Penguins' 3rd Stanley Cup in 2009. They had reached the Stanley Cup under his direction in 2008. They lost that one to the Red Wings, and they beat the Red Wings in 2009. But he helped get Sidney Crosby his first Stanley Cup, and then he spent time as the general manager of the New Jersey Devils. Back with the Penguins, though, of course, big Pittsburgh Penguins fan. I'll always remember that trade that brought Pascal Dupuis and Marian Hossa from the Atlanta Thrashers to Pittsburgh. One of those significant trades that led to some really great memories. So may Ray Shero's memory be a blessing.
Absolutely.
My thoughts and prayers with his family, friends, anyone close to Ray. Everyone on social media only had really tremendous things to say about how kind Ray Shero was to them.
And obviously a big part of your Penguins, you said it there, making the moves to get them over the top. You know, it's not drafting Crosby, but he makes the moves that gets him to that Stanley Cup. Also a part of the Devils organization too. I know they were paying tribute to him as well. By the way, the Devils clinched a playoff spot tonight in absentia. They didn't play. They totally blew it on home ice last night, again Tuesday night against the Bruins. There's no easy segue out of that, but the Devils did clinch a playoff spot on this night, and I know there's still some seeds of those great Penguins teams all over the league. Some still in Pittsburgh, but I think without any further ado, it's time to get to our star of the night. So Tyler Feldman, I start with you. We have 4 hat tricks in this one, but I don't think either of us are going with one of the hat trick heroes, but I could be wrong.
Well, I'll make this twofold because I've already talked about Marc-Andre Fleury and what he was able to accomplish despite giving up 7 goals. I just thought it was so special and wholesome. His kids there on the ice. When you're a professional athlete, you're on the road a ton, and Marc-Andre Fleury has talked about this, about being away from his family, but still having such a tremendous hockey career with the Vegas Golden Knights, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and now the Minnesota Wild. Most likely his final home game, his final home start for the Wild tonight. Emotional pregame, the Wild treating him tremendously, and then getting the overtime victory. Now has 70 wins in overtime throughout his historic and incredible NHL career, passing Martin Brodeur, a big goalie name, another legend between the pipes in NHL history. He had 69 overtime wins. So a special night for Marc-Andre Fleury. I'd also like to mention Sidney Crosby threw a football on Pat McAfee's show tonight that he had at PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh. And he threw it right through the wickets for $1 million donation for Pat McAfee. Check out that video because Sidney Crosby, incredible ice hockey player. He's just an incredible athlete. Watch him throw the football. Hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for a quarterback. Maybe it's Sidney Crosby. He doesn't have the
look far.
They need a quarterback. I mean, Crosby doesn't have the height, but he certainly has the arm. Check out that video. Those are my 2 stars connected to Pittsburgh. Trust me, if you're watching this, you're like, this guy loves Pittsburgh. I love the city. We're talking more than just Pittsburgh, though, of course, throughout this show into the postseason.
And for my star, I am going to avoid the hat trick heroes. We talked. I like getting the star that we haven't talked about yet. I mentioned him only in passing in this game, but he's a guy who is going to get an absolute bag this summer, whether to stay in Toronto or going somewhere else. Mitch Marner was the guy that jumped onto the ice for the Leafs and kind of got them going. Those 2 goals in the first 3.5 minutes. He scored one, he assisted one, he assists one later. That's the kind of guy that elevates a guy like Matthew Knies, who's a good player, right? I'm not saying Matthew Knies is not a good player, but Mitch Marner can elevate anybody that's on his line with him. Like the playoff numbers leave something to be desired. I know a lot of fans think he's soft, but the dude is one of the best defensive forwards in the league. He is an unbelievable creator, Tyler.
Did you say soft?
He's an unbelievable creator, and he is going to elevate whatever team he goes to if it's not the Toronto Maple Leafs, and obviously they'll be better off with him than without him. So Mitch Marner gets my star for the night.
Cam, I love that pick. I love the way
I really
Mitch
just
plays.
want him to go to the Bruins, by the way.
Well,
that's really what it is.
Hey, they could use him. Mitch Marner just sees the ice so well. He's got great spatial recognition, like goal line to goal line. Just a tremendous hockey player. I love that answer. Maybe this is the year a Canadian hockey team wins the Stanley Cup. You look at some of those Canadian teams tonight outside of the Flames, the Leafs, the Oilers. I could see it happening.
Party like it's 1993. I'll give you one bold prediction, though.
Okay.
I don't think a Canadian team is going to win the Frozen Four, but there are 2 teams, but one in particular that's there for the very first time, Tyler.
Cam, such a great segue. I went to Penn State. I'm a proud alumnus of Pennsylvania State University. Penn State, Nittany Lion hockey, playing in the Frozen Four for the first time in program history. I am juiced. I am jazzed up. That's disgusting.
Who are they playing?
I am jazzed up. I covered Guy Godowski in those early years of the Division I Penn State men's ice hockey program. Guy is as authentic, as genuine a guy, as genuine a head coach as you'll see. And he has stuck around in Happy Valley, built a beautiful, an incredible program inside that incredible Pagula Ice Arena, brand new. It's now 10 years old. It still seems new to me. And Cam, they may be taking on a team that you are affectionate about.
Look, it's been a sad hockey season for us. You're a Pittsburgh guy. I'm a Boston guy. But college hockey is what we're all about right now. Your
College
Penn
hockey.
State Nittany Lions, my Boston University Terriers. I can claim them because my school did not have a hockey team, and I technically went to BU, and I went to a ton of Terriers games as a kid. This is for Macklin Celebrini, the hat trick tonight. Trevor Zegras with a goal tonight. Everything's coming up, Terriers. BU potentially against the inevitable Denver Pioneers in the other semifinal.
Little signed Penn State puck there for all you Nittany Lion fans. And this is actually a Penn State basketball intramural championship trophy. Won one of those as well. So I'm pulling for the Nits.
I think that can get you on the varsity team at Penn State.
Well, at the basketball, I don't think it can.
I don't know. That would get you pretty close.
Unless they need a guy who can box out, rebound, set screens, and get hot after making just one jumper. I'm not meant to be there.
Who doesn't need that, Tyler, is what I'll ask. Who doesn't need that? But I know you follow it along. I'm a huge college hockey fan, so I can't wait. That's Thursday night. Thursday night.
Yeah.
That'll be the late semifinal. That will be 8:30 Eastern time. Winner will probably take on Denver because
7:30 Central for those of you in Austin, Texas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All of you that are watching from Austin, Texas, and all of you watching from everywhere, we want to thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen today and every day. That was it. That was the night in the NHL.
What a great night.
One.
I love this sport. Man. I love this sport. You can't look at a night like this, a random Wednesday night. It just delivered. It's like UPS. They just deliver, okay?
All the time, man. This league.
Unlike the Rangers who are using the post office because they're mailing it in.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Of course, that was a good one. I like that one.
Let's sign off. This is
a little dress rehearsal for the playoffs. I can't let Tyler go any further into the wee hours of the morning here. So make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell so you can stay up to date on everything we're doing here on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. We want to thank you again for making it part of your routine 7 days a week for all the NHL scores and storylines from your local experts and the guys like us, Tyler Feldman and Cam Stuart, on Locked On NHL Game Night.